Where these voices happening at the same time we're seeing the dark shadows. While disturbing, we can't assume there are demons here from this single account.
Hey, what's going on?
Cover in the hillside leads us to believe there may be a possibility. The third guy in your attraction there's a guy. We're trying to get the proof here. And when you keep it inside of his mouth, so you're telling me that this anecdote you hold in part of your attraction. No. That's weird.
I want to talk about your tweet about the defensive coordinator. That's one of the reasons why I want to do this. We can get into some real football talk. I can't figure out why he's doing it in Spanish. I have no idea why it's putting out in Spanish. I've changed the thing to English multiple times. Got to figure that out. I don't. Here's the thing. I want to talk about this. That's why I'm glad that you put it out there. Let's be real. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it's not what I speak. All right, let's talk about. I want to talk about the defensive coordinator for the Ken Norton Jr. Because here's the deal: the team is 5-2. Have they played great defense? No, they haven't. But you expect to have an elite offense and an elite defense just 2 years from picking in the top 5? Like, let's be real with the expectations. Look at where you're lacking. Schematically, you have no middle linebackers. Your middle linebackers suck. They're talent in your eyes, but the reality is Bruce Irvin had a good year. That was it. He hasn't been that elite defender that Seattle took in the first round. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let him walk. You can coach him up all you want or think you can, but they got to go out and perform, and that's a talent and performance issue. That's not a coaching issue. Okay? You also added new faces to a defense to adjust. It's not going to come in like that and play good defense. That takes time. There's an adjustment period. That's why you see defenses that are together for a long period of time as a unit. They do better than a defense that you just throw free agents together. Keep in mind with free agency, they're free agents for a reason. Most of the time it's because they're not doing something right. They're on the back end of their career. Very rarely do you get that Reggie White type guy that's a free agent that comes in and makes that impact. Okay. You look at For instance, Reggie Nelson. Reggie Nelson got shipped out of Jacksonville. Do you want to know the reason why he was shipped out of Jacksonville? The reason why he was shipped out of Jacksonville is because he falls asleep in meetings, shows up late to team meetings, and was sleeping in team meetings. He didn't take his job seriously. I know because a very good a person who doesn't lie to me was in that meeting room as a player, and I was told. And the only reason why he remained on the team for as long as he did before they dealt him was because he was a first-round pick. He had up until last year with Cincinnati was the last time it was the only year he had a really good year and he cashed in on it. Okay, so you had a good year, you cash in on it, and now what? Now you regress and go back to what you are. Okay, he shouldn't be on the field at all. He can't cover anybody if his life depended on it. All he can do is freelance in his own and go get a ball. That's why you have to play Joseph more at the safety spot. Safety is a big need. You need to get deeper at the cornerback position. Sean Smith is a big corner that can guard big receivers. But the faster receivers, he's going to struggle. That's just nature. That's just who he is. That's just the reality of it, okay? So Armisen can't really guard quicker receivers either. So you need to get a faster corner. Hayden should be that guy. He's been up and down. But again, he's still doing his thing. He had to come back off with the kidney injury or whatever it was that, he almost couldn't play because. So, been up and down, I'm saying, not just this year. So, you look at it's not a scheme thing. It's the pieces have to start working together, okay? And a middle linebacker would be nice, but the reality is today's NFL, over 65% of defenses play nickel as a base defense. The days of running a true 3-4 or a 4-3 front are over. It's more scheme. It's matching up against the spread offenses. And that makes, unless you have a middle linebacker that can go and cover, that makes them pretty much the type of linebackers that they don't exist anymore. You got to have a complete middle linebacker. There's only a few of those in the NFL. I should know my team personally has struggled to find a middle linebacker since Nick Barnett left. And exactly, the D-line is not getting any pressure up front. The defensive line, there's a lot of injuries there. So maybe getting Aldon Smith, if he's allowed back, because you guys are assuming they're going to allow him back, there's a very good possibility that he may not be allowed back this year because of the incident that happened prior to the draft with him and the blunt. And then, Mario Edwards would be another huge pickup. Now you have something there. You got to get these guys back. Jelly's got to get healthy, and hopefully he's not out for a long period of time for the Raiders. You have a lot of injuries on that side and guys that just, quite frankly, aren't being efficient enough. So is there a problem with things with Ken Norton? I don't think so. The problem is the guys out there got to perform. Ken Norton could call a great game. If they're not communicating amongst themselves, that's on the players, not the coach. That's what I mean about people understanding the game of football. I can call the defense. I could call a blitz where I'm blitzing the A-gaps with both linebackers, but unless my guys actually go and blitz or blitz at the appropriate time, that's on them. That's not on the coach. If they miss tackles, that's on them. That's not the coach. They work on that stuff during the week. But that's on the players. That's not on the coach. Now, if it comes to a game plan where they're completely oblivious, the game plan is they're running a forefront with three backers, and the guys have 5 wide and not putting in nickel and dime backs or not going with the extra safety or bringing the safety in the box. That's on the coach. But it's not like that right now. The games I've seen, the defense has a bend don't break, and today's NFL, the good luck having a good defense. Good luck with that. Defenses are going to be up and down all year. Being out of position is the players not doing their job. They have to do one of 11. They have to do their one job and let the other guys, other 10 do their jobs. You have to be one of 11. That was against one team they look completely lost to you. Maybe not to them. Maybe to them, when you have guys running rub routes, let's say you have two receivers lined up. One runs is going to run the wheel out, okay? And this one runs a slant. It's a pig play. They have to know to adjust. And somebody's not switching like they're supposed to. So if they're not switching, that's not on the coach. That's something you work on that I taught 13-year-olds and younger how to do. If you see him in this formation, this guy goes here and this guy runs a slant, this DB takes the guy running the go route and the inside receiver takes the guy with the slant. One has to be 3 yards off, which is the outside defensive back. One has to be 5, which is the inside defensive back. If they're both running slants, you both take your guy. No, they're not executing, and that is on the players, not the coach. That's all I'm saying. By the way, it's Carl's Jr. sponsorship. If they're moving around pre-snap, they know where they're supposed to be. They spent all week watching film. Maybe they're not watching film. Maybe the defense isn't watching film. Maybe they're relying on or trying to rely on Khalil Mack too much to create pressure. And that's the other thing. Teams are doubling Mack, sometimes tripling him. They need to get more help for him on that side. That's where if Aldon Smith comes back, that's what he would bring, another pass rusher. That's what Bruce Irvin was supposed to bring. But Bruce Irvin's not a great pass rusher. He's better in coverage and versus the run than a pass rusher in his NFL career. While he's at West Virginia, yes, phenomenal sack man. But when he got to the NFL, they realized quickly that he's not a guy that can go get the quarterback. He hasn't been that guy in his career in the NFL. He's better versus the run and dropping back into coverage. So many new players, rookies, free agents. That's another issue. They have to learn to play together and trust each other. The trust thing is the biggest thing to me. You watch the tape on the Bucs; they'll try to run from what you saw versus the 49ers game. I would agree with that. The Tampa Bay, but Doug Martin, I don't think he's playing this week. And if he is, he's coming off an injury. So he's going to be, I don't know how fresh he's going to be. He may have fresh legs, but he's still coming off an injury. They don't have Vincent Jackson. Their receiving core isn't great. Evans is good. Jameis will make mistakes, but the key is going to be them getting pressure. Defensively, they have to get pressure, and they have to stop the run. The Raiders can stop the run. The linebackers are okay at stopping the run. I think the biggest limitation for the Raiders is their pass coverage. That's just from the games. I don't sit and watch all 22 on them. I don't even do that with Green Bay anymore because, quite frankly, I'm going to take my own advice. I don't know the game plan going into a game. No fan, no matter how much they want to think they know, or claim they know somebody, nobody's going to give up the game plan and say what the game plan is going into a specific week. The reality is they go into the week with the game plan as it is. The game plan is probably going to be stop the run, stick to your man in pass coverage. Sean Smith should have a good matchup with Mike Evans this week, both big, physical type of players on offense and defense respectively. That's a matchup. Where Evans goes, Smith should go. And then you adjust the rest of your defense with Armisen and Hayden and the rest of the DBs. But you have to understand the game plan they have put forth. Fernandez running pretty good on Tampa. I would say this week you would run a little bit more. But here's the thing. The Raiders are going to be fresher than the Buccaneers. They're going to be more fresh. And what I mean by that is, okay, the Raiders, with them staying in Florida for the week, they didn't have to get on a plane. They didn't have to deal with the travel and the different time zones to get up. They stayed in a type of they were consistent all week. Where Tampa Bay had to fly across the country. My brother touched on it. That's huge. There's times where he played, they stayed the week in that city they were playing in or playing against. If it was, well, he's in Florida, but if it was like somewhere in Oakland, they played San Francisco the next week, or or San Diego, they would stay in California for that week and train and go through practices and stuff out there. It helps the body. That's something that's big, and I agree with him with that. And that happened when he was playing with Jacksonville under Del Rio. They stayed out of 4 seasons. Yeah, they're not going to look at. They're the Raiders, and it's the NFL. They're not going to stay at a Holiday Inn. Okay, they're not going to stay at the Motel 6 across the street from the stadium. You know, they're going to stay somewhere nice. It's the NFL. Yeah, it does. Inflammation, um, a lot of that stuff, and it's not just the big guys. I mean, some guys have, let's say they have sickle cell. That affects them as well. The elevation and things of that nature. Check your link. Should they not be prepared for this Washington? Sometimes there are things that a team does against specific teams that they just roll out brand new and they don't see it. So they'll have to adjust on their own. I'm not gonna go watch it right now with doing this. Okay, that's like asking me to stop to go back, Alex. The thing is this. I put stuff in a good example. And I'll use it coach, and this is on a youth level. I ran an offense, and I normally run an offense in the regular season that is it's good. It gets a lot of points. But I have an offense that we practice all week, along with our regular offense that I don't show until we get to the postseason. I got plays that we don't run no matter what, that we run in postseason, that we practice all year, and we roll it out. Offenses to give them different looks because they're going to be like, oh shit, how do we do this? How do we do that? That's what you do. Andy Reid, he's a smart man. He's not going to show all of his hands at one time. Rolled something new out that hasn't been on film. And if it's not on film, how do you scheme for it? You don't, because you don't know how, because you've never seen it. That's my point. And maybe they may not have known. They may have lined up in different places. They may have lined up all over the place. That's on them. That's not necessarily on the coaching staff. If they need to know where they lined up. They know you line up in the A gap, you line up in the B gap, you're in a 3 tech, 5 tech, 7 tech, 9 tech, whatever it's going to be. Most of the time you're in a 1 technique, you're in 1s, you're in 5, you're in 7, you're in 9. And then the 3 is going to be the one that's open. And that's where the linebacker is supposed to have that. Okay, looking at your thing, do you know who that's on? Reggie Nelson, not knowing where he's going. Look at it. And what did I just say about Reggie Nelson? He doesn't pay attention in film. Or whoever is at 30, is that 37 or 27? Yeah, Reggie Nelson, 27. It's Reggie Nelson. That's on Reggie Nelson. Go back and watch him with Jacksonville. He doesn't know where to line up. He blew more coverage in Jacksonville than anybody. That's why he got benched for my brother, who was an undrafted player when he played with Kansas City. My brother took Reggie Nelson's job because he didn't know the defense. He didn't study. That's one player. If one player blows an assignment on defense, that could cost a touchdown. Good example. If you're a DB, and I don't know if you've ever played before. I don't know who has played and who hasn't. If you're a DB, what is your in run defense? And I'll wait for the answer. What is your main responsibility? If you're a cornerback on the outside, what is your responsibility in run coverage? I'm going to wait for the answer to come up on the chat. Thank you. Set the edge, outside contain. Nothing gets outside of you. You cannot crash in. You have to stay home and force everything inside, funnel them inside to the linebackers, the safety, and the D linemen. But guess what a lot of corners do? Instead of coming straight down, they go here, running back goes here, they go to the house. Is that on the coach? DBs know this. You're taught this from the Pop Warner youth level. What's the defensive end's responsibility? To set the edge and don't get deeper than the ball. Don't get deeper than the ball. The ball is 7 yards back. Your rush is 7 yards. Why? Because you can still come in and can hit him here. If you get too deep, he runs right by you. So if they're not doing their job, that's not on the coach. The coach should bench them, but you're dealing with $1 million guys now. So now the money comes into play. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand the scheme and what each person's supposed to do within the scheme. When I had to stop, when I had to stop coaching at the high school this past year, I went to a few games. I had to sit in the stands. Okay, those were the best coaches are. I know the hand signals. I know the play calls. I know the thought process behind it. He needs to do. He did it. He did it. But yet, why aren't you down there? Better yet, do you know what they're doing? No. So why are you like, be critical? I understand that. But if you don't know, you can't say what the defense is supposed to do, because if they're running a 4-4, what's the weak side inside linebacker's responsibility? That weak B gap. You know what I mean? That's his responsibility. But if they're running up there and he's not getting there, that's on him. That's not on the coordinator. Because every defense, there's one weak spot on a defense. It's just the reality of football. There's always one weak gap in a defense that your linebacker has to come up and plug. That's real talk. So the thing is this. That what you showed me, that's Reggie Nelson. Where do I go? What do I do? Well, wake up in the film room and pay freaking attention. And guess who his coach was when he was with Jacksonville? Jack Del Rio. You would think he would know the type of defense that Jack wants to know, or Jack wants to run. A leopard don't change his stripes. Or in this case, a former Jaguar don't change his stripes. So that's one player. One player can mess up a whole defense. One player not doing his job, his one job, can mess up a whole defense. That's what makes great players like Deion Sanders. You know what made Deion so great? Seriously, do you know what made Deion so great? He knew you weren't going to outrun him, and he was so technically perfect. But before you're up there, you have to worry about if he's going to jam you, what release you're going to take, what route adjustment. You see what I'm saying? This is before the snap. You're supposed to know where you go. I'm up here. I got this. Deion would have you thinking about all this pre-snap. He already won. Not the tackle of the day. Yeah, ha, ha, ha. But there isn't a better cover corner in the history of the NFL. Checked Oreo. Hey, Knight, I'm still can't get the chat to work. And Ed, my boy Ed Marshall, Ed's having trouble even getting on this, so you may want to reach out to him on Twitter. He's having some trouble getting on or whatnot, getting notifications. And Deion did have great fashion sense, according to Ed. He's texting me. So, anyway, But when it comes to like, we can break down defense and offense. That's not a problem. I have no problem doing that. But I don't know. Nobody does it. Now, could we find out? No. Unless you know a player on the team that's going to tell you going into it. Ed said he can't get in on chat and notifications. So I don't know what's up with that. You have to figure that out, Ed. Autumn's not getting notifications either. He did hit the bell on his iPad, and it still didn't get notified. And I was talking to him about it last night, and he on his phone he went into the settings on YouTube, and his notifications were on because there's no bell on his phone, and it's not doing it either. And it's an iPhone. So, I mean, we'll work all the little bugs out. That's all stuff that's going to be worked out. But update the app, Ed. Try that. Yeah, that's why he made the Pro Bowl. He had interceptions, and you got to making a Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything anymore. Guys don't play in it. You'll have like 4 guys decline to play in it, so then the next man comes up. He wasn't like he was voted in by the coaches. He wasn't voted in by the players. Yeah, and Knight also. When it tweets out in Spanish or Portuguese, and my stuff's in English. That's the other thing. We're gonna have to maybe early next week, if you're free, we can figure it out. I'm not worried about it right now. If you guys see the Portuguese message, then come on board. I don't mean to be technically illiterate or whatever. But yeah, just because they make a Pro Bowl, Alex, doesn't make them good. I mean, there's so many guys that the Pro Bowl ain't even. Look at first team. Look at first team all NFL. That's more of a definition of somebody being a good player, not a Pro Bowl. And I don't think Reggie Nelson was first, second, or third team. And if he was that high of a priority, he would have been signed right away, not waited as long as he had to wait to sign. I know you'll figure it out, brother. I know we'll figure it out somehow, some way. I'm only got another 15 minutes or so on this because I gotta go pick the wife up from work. Fact is the best defenses have returning players in the same position. That's real. A lost fact. Yeah, if you look at teams that bring everybody back. Those are the guys that you get those defenses that stick together for a long period of time. That's the group that you look. I mean, that's what made the Ravens so good when you had Ray Lewis and Ed Reed anchoring that defense, and then everybody around them. They changed. Haloti Ngata was up front, but then but they changed certain pieces, but they kept that defense together. They found a way to keep them together. Well, am I watching it already? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what's on. I may sleep in tomorrow. I haven't done that in a couple of days. I may sleep in tomorrow, but probably just so I'll flip between that and something else. Well, here's the thing when it comes to drafting, D-Man. When it comes to drafting, right, you build your team with the middle rounds. Your first round should be a dude. Your second round should be a dude. But third through fifth round, that's where the heart of your team comes in. And I think that's where you're going to see your team get better because Reggie McKenzie is very good at what he does. Okay. But he has to be, look and evaluate what is the biggest needs and go for them. Exactly, Knight. It's a great point. So you have 7 new guys on defense. Do you think that there's not going to be some problems? Yes, there is. I have a Fire Stick that's jailbroken, so I get any game. And if I want, I'll just go to like Red Rock or something and fire it up there, or go to Red Rock and watch it there. But yeah, you gotta look at how many 4 returners on defense. You got half your secondaries brand new. Really 3 of them. If they start Joseph and Nelson, 3 of your DBs are brand new. So you find out that it's the game broad. Well, you understand, Vegas is like LA used to be. They're going to choose what they feel is the best game of the day. And if it's the Patriots and Bills, they may, record-wise, that's a better game than the Raiders and Buccaneers. And there's more of a storyline there as well. There's more of a storyline because as a Rex and Belichick. The Bills are playing good football right now. They're I think they're 5-2 as well, and the Patriots only have 1 loss. So I know the Green Bay game's on TV. I'm not worried about that. I've seen the national map. There's only like 1 place in America it's not. So from like 1 whatever on, I'm unavailable. I'm not answering tweets, texts. That's kind of how I do it. I'll tell you what, from what I did see with the Raiders, here's where I think on each side of the ball they have needs. They need at least 1 more receiver, but a speed receiver, a guy that can just go, a guy that can blow the top off of defense and can complement the balanced receiver that Cooper is, the possession receiver that Crabtree is, and I think they need to get another tight end as well. Just because Warford, he was hurt, he's been hurt. They need to get somebody that can do their thing. Oh, Ed made it in. There you go. I think you have that side of it. Okay, you need either line some depth on the offensive line. Defensively, middle linebacker, get beef up front, D tackles. I think you need to get another DB, a smaller DB, a faster DB. But that's stuff that you can get. I mean, it's stuff that's going to be available. Now, let me point this out. Let me point this out. Jabril Peppers will not be available unless you're picking in the top 15, maybe top 10, maybe top 5. So any pipe dream of Jabril Peppers, it's done. No, and not an entire new defense. I think if you want, here's the deal. If you want to get there's plenty of good safeties that will be out there. No, you don't tank. You got to get to 8 wins this year, 8 or 9 wins. Have to. You got to continue the progression. I know you're bullshitting it, but you got to continue that progression. Um, I when it comes to a pick, you may want to go middle linebacker, and the guy from Bama would be a good fit. A thumper in the middle, guy that will lay hat. I think you need to cut ties with Reggie Nelson. I think that's a waste of money. And maybe go, you go get the other safety. Um, I think receiving wise, the kid from Oklahoma, uh, I forget his name, but the kid can flat out fly and play good football. He's a perfect slot receiver. Um, that would be that would definitely benefit your team. But you got to go get more beef up front. Got to get beef up front. Um, and even and not necessarily even just to start, but to create depth. That's one of the things. And I'll use the team. I'll use Green Bay as an example. Their defensive line, they can rotate their defense line in and out, interchangeable pieces that fit. Kenny Clark has the last game was his best game as a pro. Since they've inserted him, their first round pick, he's been damn near dominant as a nose tackle, and it kicked him outside to the 3 technique. He's done a really good job there as well. But they have their D liners interchangeable. Your guys in the middle to let the linebackers roam, and could have a rookie middle linebacker calling the defense, and Blake Martinez from Stanford. He's pretty good in coverage. He's athletic. He needs to get stronger, but that stuff that can be taught. You can get stronger. So, and that was a 4th round pick. You see what I'm saying? You can still get good players late in the draft. You just have to trust the process and go from there, and trust your GM. And I think most of you guys are good about that. Maybe use TJ Carey as safety more. Don't like Nate Allen any more than Nelson. I'll take Allen over Nelson, because guess what? Allen has a year more experience in that defense than Nelson, which means communication will be better, which means he'll know his assignment better, where Nelson doesn't. Nelson doesn't know his assignments. That's evident on the play that Alex showed me. Holden could be that guy, but why not get another one? Why not have 4? Now you got 4 really good legitimate weapons for Carr, which should free up the running game, which should free up Murray or Washington. It'll free him up. That's what you want. You want to have that explosive offense, because what that does then, it gives your defense a rest. And if you can put up points, your defense can give up some points. Not every point is life or death. Ed has trust issues with both of them. Ed, you got trust issues, period. Offense, I think at wide receiver, they do like true burners type speed. I would agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But he doesn't have to be a starter. You don't have to take him in the 1st round, 2nd round. You can get him in the 3rd round. A lot of good receivers come 3rd round or later. Do I have any interviews where lined up? For this, I haven't really tried, to be honest with you. If you're talking about for the YouTube channel, I haven't really tried. I want to get it all perfected first. I want to make sure all the kinks are worked out prior to me having people come on, because the last thing is I don't want to look oaky. You know who would be a good fit for you guys on defense, honestly? And you probably could get him in the 2nd or 3rd round if he comes out. a nickel corner that can return kicks and punts and would be a game changer, Adoree Jackson. Adoree would be a game changer on defense. He could guard the fastest person on any team, and he'll guard that slot receiver, and he could return kicks and punts and change that field position. That would be a game changer for them. Yeah, I did see the the Jose Fernandez news. Disappointing, but not surprising. Yeah, so you upgrade the one tight end spot. You let Rivera go, even though his sister is hot. The Jose Fernandez news. They found traces of cocaine and alcohol in his bloodstream. I'm not surprised. I'm surprised with the cocaine, but not the alcohol. That was the first thing I thought of, that he was probably drunk. Very sad, and doesn't change the fact that it's a tragic loss of a young life. That doesn't change that fact at all. Ah, here you go. Well, no, it needs to come out though, D-man. It needs to come out because it's facts. It's factual. But you don't need to. I'm not going to dwell on it and call him a cokehead and cocaine Hernandez or Cuban cokehead or whatever. I'm not going to go that route at all. I believe me, that one hurt me. That one rocked my core for days, and it still hurts me. Adoree Jackson's a cornerback at USC, for the person that asked who he was. Reggie Nelson's a cokehead, or slow and injury prone. But yeah, Adoree Jackson he's a stud. Been a stud at Sarah High School. He's been a stud. He's USC's all-time kick returns leader, and he's done it. I mean, he broke the record the other night. It took Curtis Conway 4 years to break it, and he did it in 3. Stud. Yeah, well, young kid, lots of money, Miami. I mean, it's Miami, It's not like Miami is that. Look at my friend Billy Corbin. Look at Billy's Cocaine Cowboys. Where did that take place? Billy Corbin, that's a great follow on Twitter too. And if you want to know the inside with movies or like with University of Miami or anything Florida or Miami related, follow Billy Corbin. Billy's a great dude. Great dude. Glad to call him a friend. Had him on all my shows. He may be somebody I have on here talking college football soon. That may be one of my first ones. Billy's down for stuff like this. Reggie just a stopgap. Loaded contract, cap issues can't be cut. But is it front loaded or back loaded? That's the thing. If it's front loaded, he gets paid now. You can cut him on the back end. You can cut him next year if it's depending on what the contract looks like. Yeah, I mean, I never did coke, but if it's front load, you can cut him at the end of this year. It's basically a 1-year deal. You cut him, and then what? Then what do? You go get yourself another safety, or you get yourself at depth at other positions. Know who will be available this offseason? Here's an idea. If you're a Raider fan, and I'll throw this out there. I'll throw some doo-doo on the wall, and hopefully it sticks. Do you know who you go get? Because he's going to be a free agent. Eric Berry. Not only do you get better, you hurt the Chiefs. You're welcome. Maybe Reggie should hire me to help him. I waited for that one. And I'm waiting for see all the comments when I said the name. Andre Sasha, right? He's decent. I'm gonna watch him tonight when they on CBS Sports Network when they play UNLV. Um, he may be somebody. I haven't watched a lot on him, but I'm gonna value him tonight. And I've heard some good things about him from people, so I don't know too much to be honest with you tonight. You talked to Eric Berry. That's sweet. Wonder what he told him. Probably nothing though. Well, yeah, it depends on the drive class, but look, Eric Berry is arguably one of the top 4 or 5 safeties. Um, a leader, a playmaker. He literally would be a huge upgrade. I mean yeah. I mean that's the thing. That the good GMs, they all will front load contract. They're all front load the contracts. Reggie does a great job of that, but he learned that from Ted Thompson. Ted will always front load contracts to make them. That's why I'm surprised Julius Peppers are stuck in Green Bay so long. Yeah, it'd be nice to have youth, but you got to have veterans teach them how to do things because there are unwritten rules and unwritten things you have to do in the NFL. You have to, there's certain tricks that you have to learn, and you have to have a vet teach you those things. That's what made Charles Woodson so great in Green Bay. He imparted his knowledge onto the DBs, and now someone like Morgan Burnett has imparted that knowledge onto HaHa Clinton Dix. That's why Julius Peppers is important to teams because he has certain knowledge, little tricks that you show the younger guys. That's the stuff that means a lot. That's the things that the intangibles that no metric can ever discuss. It's the intangibles, the little tricks of the trade that you have to learn as a player. You coached who in elementary? The safety from San Jose State. 3 minutes and I'm out, guys. 3 minute warning. Knight, who did you coach in elementary? Now you got me interested. For which game, Alex? Which final score for which game? Raiders Bucks. 27-13 Raiders. I almost said 27-20. But I'll go 27-13. I think Winston will throw a late pick or something. Adoree ain't going. He's barely 5'8", maybe 5'9". He ain't going early like that. But if he does, I wouldn't be surprised. All right, Ed, get your crap together. Safe travels down to Vegas, man. See you tomorrow night. Ed and I are having dinner tomorrow night, believe it or not. Good Lord, what's the world coming to? Us two together? I don't care about lines. I look at what I've seen teams play. And my buddy Keith is a huge Bucks fan, and he's going to be pissed. But it's up and down. They're up and down. The Raiders have been pretty consistent for me. Do a YouTube with Ed? I don't know about that. I don't know about that, not because it wouldn't be funny. So it'd be conversations that take place that I don't necessarily want public. But hey, that's it. I'll be doing another one of these after the UNLV game tonight. So it's going to be about, I'll say 11 o'clock. That will be the next one. Talk more NFL. We'll talk about, obviously going to talk about a lot of UNLV stuff. So be on the lookout for that. If you're not too hammered, remember, if you're going to drink and drive, call an Uber and get a taxi. Be safe. You can say go San Jose. That's fine. My Trojans smacked the Cal Bears, and I'm good with that. San Jose State's not going to beat UNLV. I like UNLV. I changed my score from insider. I'll go 34-24. I like UNLV. And you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. Enjoy your families, and we'll talk to you soon. Later.